have the mindset for success? Or are you feeling frustrated in life or your career? Or stressed you can't find love or happiness? Hi, I'm Coach Riana Milne, and I can help you turn your pain into your purpose and passion by using my Mindset for Success system. Learn the motivational Mindset for Success coaching system that has helped thousands of my clients over 40 years, and it can help you too. It's time to create the life you desire and to have the love you deserve.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lessons in Life and Love podcast. I'm your host and global life and love coach, Riana Milne. I'm all about helping you to create the life you desire and have the love you deserve. I'm on a mad mission to help change the way the world loves. So you'll learn a lot about how to have emotionally healthy, evolved, and conscious relationships, and how to avoid toxic, painful ones, which is just too prevalent today. You'll also learn a lot about healing childhood trauma, as it is the direct cause of painful relationships and suffering in life and love. If at any time you're struggling, reach out to me during the week at my website, which is rianamilne.com. Tell me your story, or better yet, sign up for a Life and Love Transformation Discovery session. For 2 hours, I will meet with you to get to the root of your concerns and start you on a healing journey to having the life and love that you desire and deserve. Okay, love angels and transformers, let's dive in. Today I have a very special guest. His name is RM Ryerson, and he's a leadership and performance coach and host of his own podcast called Let's Go Win. As a matter of fact, I was a guest on that show just a couple episodes ago, so be sure to check that out. JM also has created 3 of his own businesses and sold them, and teaches leadership teams to do the same. He's a best-selling author of 3 books, Let's Go Win, Upgrade, and the Champion's Daily Playbook. Welcome to the show, JM Ryerson.
Oh, thanks for having me, Rihanna. I'm humbled and blessed to be here. I had such a great conversation on my show, and I can't wait to be on yours.
We sure did. And for my listeners, if you have not heard our show yet, Let's Go Win, make sure you check it out on JM's podcast. It's very insightful. So JM today is going to share with us some leadership concepts. I know a lot of you that I work with are at the top of your game in your careers, but before you came to me, you were suffering with some past childhood and love trauma, and we had to balance that all out for you. Now let's get you going, or those that are looking to change your careers. Let's talk about what it takes to be a great leader. So JM, why do some people who want to be leaders never quite get there? What's going on?
We're not taught how to really be leaders. And it's funny, I talk about education reform often without even being in the education space. But the truth is, people perform at their job. Let's say they're really good at sales, or they're an incredible manager. And so next thing you know, they get put into these leadership positions. Well, that's awesome. But what am I supposed to do now? How am I supposed to lead as my very best self if I'm not even sure what that means? And so I look at it's just lack of information. So for instance, for me, I was passionate about being on teams. Leadership was always something I was interested in. So I read 30 to 40 books a year, and the vast majority are on leadership from previous leaders. Historically, what have they done? But most people aren't going to spend the time. So how do they learn to be a great leader is probably the biggest challenge if you don't have an incredible mentor, somebody that said, hey, I want to take you by the arm and show you some of the things so you don't make the mistake. I think that's the biggest challenge that people have. And the second thing is just leading yourself first. You have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of anyone else. And I know that we talked about that briefly on my show. You have to take care of yourself first in order to show up as the best version of yourself as a leader, as a spouse, as a brother, whatever hat you're wearing.
We were talking about the 7 Ds for success that my clients all know about, and having that drive, the entrepreneur mentality, I call it, to want to succeed. It's not going to just come to you. And also investing in the coaches that you need. I mean, you have to be coachable. You have to say, you know what, I have this goal and this dream, which for me was to go global as a coach, and I didn't know how to do it. And I was humbled enough to say, wow, I need help. So I've had 12 coaches, you know, podcast coach, my business coach, how to build a school coach, how to do funnels coach. So you'll have to say, I need help. I'm opening my mind and my heart to being coachable, and I'm willing to learn and do the work. This mindset first, which our people, when they heal the trauma, now they're in the right mindset. So what's the next step? I would say get your mentor and your leader that you believe in. I totally agree with you. What do you mean when you say it's so important to show up as you? What does that mean?
Yeah, so often we show up with masks on, and I say this often. Anybody that works with me long, masks are meant for parties. They're not meant for real life. So take them off because the best version of you is that authentic self. As a leader, if you want somebody to truly follow you, I mean, run through that brick wall. They're going to follow someone that they truly believe in, someone that they see, someone that they shows up authentically as themselves, not as a facade. That will only work so long. So when I say showing up as your best self, that's taking off the mask, taking off whatever you put on to fit in, because we all want to be liked. We want to fit in. We want people to accept us. But the truth is, the most accepting, beautiful human being is inside. It's not the mask that you put on. And people can see right through it. That's why my first book, I started with vulnerability. Now, I was taught boys don't cry. That was the lesson I was taught. And it's a terrible lesson.
It
It's
is
literally
right.
awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't serve anything positive. And you're just teaching these men, in this case, to shove their emotions way down until it explodes into some anarchy. No, that's terrible advice. And so,
Yeah.
what I tell people is to be truly yourself, be vulnerable, don't be afraid to truly show people who you are because they will accept you and they will love you. And by the way, if they don't, they're not the right people for you. This isn't
True.
the tribe that you want. This isn't your culture that you want to be a part of. And that's when I think people find true happiness is when they can be authentically themselves. They're not trying to be someone they're not. And as a leader, now you can show up in a way that people are like, oh, yeah, I will follow that guy or gal to the ends of the earth because I believe in them. I can see them.
I love that. But I think part of that too is understanding you have a story, you have a story from your past. We're not stuck in that past, but being brave enough to share that story and then showing your journey. So when people say, wow, you know, she was like me, she struggled with love trauma too. She gets it. She gets what I'm going through. She understands my struggle, but she's also now really empowered. So we call it in our system empowered communication, not vulnerability, because you're empowered to share really your authentic self and who you are. And people can see, wow, from her story to who she is today, there was struggle. But I want that journey too. I want that healing too. So they relate to you. There's this know, like, and trust factor when you're a leader or a mentor that people feel like I know her family, I know her story, now I know her boyfriend. They get to know you and then they trust in you. Because when we're working with people, we are working with their fear-based self or their vulnerabilities, right? So we have to take that person and then make them feel more empowered, that they have the guts and wherewithal to go for their dreams and not be afraid. We're teaching that empowered person.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Because it's absolutely true. And again, if we're focused on leadership, you can get up there with some title and just talk at people, but until they truly know that you genuinely care about them as a human being, they're not going to follow. And it is interesting how people want to, again, have this curated life where everything looks perfect. That's a fairy tale. Everyone has struggles, everyone has challenges. I'm not saying always go up there and cry on stage. I'm not saying that. However, if that's in the moment, what's happening, don't be ashamed to let that out because they used to be called soft skills, and I don't really allow that to be used in the terminology I use because I actually think it's a real strength. These are human basic emotions, and when you share that, when you connect with another person, people are like, "Oh, okay." I like you said, I can relate to that person.
Yeah.
I've been in their shoes. They know what I'm going through. I can get behind that person.
Yeah. And why do you think people aren't their authentic selves? Do you think it's fear-based mindset? They'll be
100%.
judged.
Yeah, it is fear. I don't know why we're taught not to be ourselves, not to show who we truly are, but it is taught often. I certainly was taught put your best face on, and you want that to be in front of the audience or the crowd or the camera. And I
Mhm.
understand that. I do understand you want to show up as your best self. Here's my example. When I first started in business, I would wear a three-piece suit and tie every single day. This was who I showed up as. The truth is, I felt really uncomfortable. I'm a kid from Montana that wears jeans and t-shirt, man, and that is
Yeah.
me. That's just how I'm comfortable. I'm in a hoodie today. Like, this is how I show up. And once I finally realized after about company one and a half, at my second company, I said, some people love wearing suit and tie and they look incredible and it gives them confidence. I feel like an imposter. I don't like it. It just doesn't allow me to be me. The moment I started taking that stuff down and just showing up as me, it's amazing how much our business grew even more than it was before, and how much more people were like, oh, I can see JM. He truly believes in me. And that's just a piece of clothing. So often we're taught to put on the facade, look a certain way, but it's just not your true strength.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was visiting my family in Austin, and my son-in-law, Preston Smiles, is a very well-known international coach. And he goes, Mom, why are you so dressed up? It's just us. And my daughter, Alexi Panos, is also a top global coach. He says, Preston, this is my mom. This is how she always is. This is how I've known her since I've been 2 or 3 years old. She always dresses nice. But this is where, when I went to modeling school at age 12 or 13, finally my confidence was there. Finally my self-esteem grew. And I've really enjoyed putting outfits together. I actually was a fashion stylist for a department store at one time, which to me is creativity. Put the right jewelry with the right outfit. And to me, that's part of my joy. So that really is me. That's my authentic self. So it was interesting to hear my daughter explain it to my son-in-law. No, that is mom. That's just how she is. So I agree. A lot of people show up more casual. They show up dressed, whatever makes you feel comfortable to be you. Don't feel you have to be anything different or anything else. Just be your comfortable you. And it's funny. Sometimes I am prejudged. Oh, she's always dressed up. She's standoffish. But then they're like, but she's really nice. So they're putting together in their own mind, well, oh, okay, this is just Rihanna. Now I know her. Now we know she's cool. So I'm not going to change for someone else to make them comfortable. I'm always going to show up for me. And then they do get it.
Yeah,
So
look, you're going to get judged one way or the other. That we do these snapshots as human beings.
yeah,
JM shows up in a hoodie, Rihanna shows up dialed to the nines. Both of us are getting judged, but once they get to know the human being, they don't care. They see
right.
past all that. And this is clothing, but I love what you're talking about. Is like, I feel confident. I feel strong. I feel powerful when I put these outfits together. Cool. For me, I feel stuffy and not myself. So when I put on that t-shirt, I'm like, oh yeah, I can
This
be
is
me.
me.
And it's funny how it is an extension of who we are. And I just want people to give themselves the grace to appropriate. There's some
Yeah,
workplaces you have to wear, and that's cool. Do you? But I would tell you to find what that is, and people will really accept who that is.
yeah. What would you say is the most important quality a leader should have for leadership?
Humility. And to me, it's not even close. There's lots of other answers. There's confidence and there's communication and having the heart. But truly, in my opinion, humility is the most important thing a leader can do. Well, why? Leadership is influence. And that's not my definition. John Maxwell is the one that really brought that to the forefront. And I think it's best
He's great.
definition you can have of leadership. And so when you're truly humble, when you have humility and it's not about you, now you can really start to influence others, because when you're working as a leader, you have other people on a team. Well, if
Mhm.
you're thinking about yourself, you're not thinking about the team. And so my leadership philosophy has always been the same. It's not about me. And Simon Sinek came up with a book, Leaders Eat Last. What's interesting is I have read it, but 10, 15 years prior to that, my guys would always say, why do you eat last? I'm like, because I want you guys to be served first. You guys do so much for the company. I think it's your right and for us leaders to stand back. And so it's just these small examples that people will notice. They will recognize, do you put yourself first or are you putting the team first? So if you can find humility and really check your ego at the door, it doesn't mean you don't have one, by the way. We all have an ego and we should.
Yes,
But are you putting that first or are you putting the team first?
I love that. That's really great. Having a leadership philosophy, what would you say yours is, and why is that important to someone in their success levels as a leader?
Mine is it's not about me. And the reason having your philosophy is so important is you want that communication piece I briefly talked on. You want to tell people, here's who I am, here's what you can expect from me. And so now they know how you're supposed to show up as a leader. Now they know how you're supposed to behave because you've told them this is my philosophy. And you give them permission to say, if I get out of line, can you make sure to check me? Can you make sure to just remind me of what that philosophy is? Because when we look in the mirror, we see a picture, we see ourselves, but it's not necessarily accurate to how others see you, the lens that they see you at. And so, one of the easiest things you can do as a leader is to give permission to your team to say, look, I value your feedback and I need it. I want you to tell me how I'm showing up because I think I'm showing up one way, yet in your eyes, I'm showing up a completely different way. That's not my intent. And so when you say it's not about me,
Yeah.
or whatever your leadership philosophy is, it could be we're the most competitive team in the world or whatever your thing is. When you put it out there, now you're setting expectations that people can hold you to.
Okay. Would that be different than your mission statement?
Yes, my mission statement for Let's Go Win is to inspire people to live their best lives. And
Okay.
the reason I chose that is because that mission will never be fulfilled. So every single day that I get up, I can never say I don't have something to do. I always, for the
Okay.
remainder of my time on earth, I have something to do because my vision is to inspire people, everyone to live their best lives. I know it will never be obtained, but it gives me something to really strive for.
Yeah, like mine at my company is helping to change the way the world loves. So that is going to be ongoing. But everyone that graduates is now part of that mission. They know this information. They feel amazing about themselves. They're ready to see someone else who's struggling because they now know it's childhood trauma. It's like, you need to talk to Riana. So one at a time, we are helping to change the way the world loves. And it's a big mission. So I would say to our listeners, your mission statement is about a purpose to help humans, animals, the earth, a larger purpose in your mission statement. I think that might be helpful. What's the worst thing that a leader could do to lose their trust of their team and their influence to make a
Yeah,
difference?
it's a great question. And unfortunately, it's going to come to the ego thing. The worst thing you can do is take away from your team. The number one reason that teams are currently 71% of people are disengaged, according to Gallup. So
Mhm.
7 out of 10 people walking through your office don't want to be there. Well, the number one reason why is that they lack recognition. So I call it EPR, encourage, praise, and recognize. As a leader, the best thing you can do, by the way, every leader listening, this is free to you. It doesn't cost you a dime, and the rewards are incalculable. Your dividends will continue to pile up. Encourage, praise, and recognize. So as a leader, if you take from them, so somebody does a great job on your team, and instead of giving them the credit, you take that and you feed your
Mm,
own ego, you are
yeah, not good.
violating trust and you're losing your team.
Mhm. That's awesome. Those have come so far, then seem to stop themselves. What's that about? They have this goal to become this. You get about halfway. What happens in that journey?
Yeah, and this is work that you spend a lot of time on. These self-limiting beliefs that people have is the challenge. Mom, dad, brother, sister, friends. I mean, we talked about generational trauma on my show. At
Mhm.
some point, the world's going to tell you you're not. You're not capable. You're not strong. You're not powerful. All these things.
You can't do that.
That's right.
That's impossible.
those insecurities that they have. Like when you talked about the coach, you spent 85,000 for a coach, and everybody around you like, that's crazy. Well, thank
You
goodness you
can't do
didn't
that.
listen to it. Correct. That's their insecurities.
Yeah.
And so the three questions I have people ask is because we all tell ourselves a story. Now, this story is something that you get to choose every single day. So if I was shy for 44 years, according to everyone else, but on my 45th birthday, if I chose to be the most outgoing person, that is something I can do.
Do you feel like you have tried everything? Self-help books, therapy, relationship summits, retreats, online courses, podcasts. But you still struggle with toxic love, attracting narcissistic partners, ongoing anxiety, depression, codependency, love addiction, stress, moodiness, lack of hope, feeling stuck in your career, and you just can't seem to get love right. It's time to heal your unconscious behavioral patterns caused by unhealed childhood trauma. I'm Riana Milne, the love trauma recovery expert and certified life and love coach who helps thousands around the world, and I can help you too. I specialize in helping adults heal from unconscious childhood and love relationship traumas, emotional triggers, and dysfunctional behavioral patterns, which have been impacting them negatively in life, love, or business, to transform and create the life they desire and to have the love they deserve. Talk to me today at rianamilne.com and get the free ebook below to learn more.
So what I tell people to ask themselves is, why do you believe that? Really dig deep. Why do you believe that I'm not capable? Is that true? And how is that showing up in your life? And those three simple questions, it's going to come to, well, why do I think I'm not confident? Or why don't I think I can have a global company? Well, because everyone around me told me it's not possible. Their own insecurities. So I started to believe that. Is that true? Well, actually, no, it's not true because other people have done it. Therefore, I have the same capabilities or more. And how's it showing up? Well, it's showing up that I'm playing small. I'm not showing up and playing the game of life in a big way. And I don't feel fulfilled or great about myself. So if you can just ask those three questions, you'll find where these beliefs came from. And you'll say, wait a minute, I don't want to believe what mom or dad did. It doesn't make them a bad person. It just means that's not what I want for me.
Exactly. We call that live large. Say yes more often. Say yes to opportunities. Yes to yourself. Yes, I believe I can do this. Yes, I'm going to invest in someone who will help me grow my career or make me feel better for myself. That's about what we talked on your show about getting over the lack messages. Oh, I can't. That's what we call living on the dark side of life, where you're stuck and you don't grow and it feels icky over there because you never become your highest and your best self. So when you're living in the light, this is where joy and peace and love and success and this incredible joy and light. You hear sometimes these people walking the room, every time they walk in the room, there's this aura, this joy, this light about them. Why? Because they're saying yes to their life and their opportunities and growing. I love Tony Robbins when he says, if you're not growing, you're dying. And when I heard that, I pictured a plant growing, and when it just stops, it just shrivels and slowly dies away. And that's what happens when we don't continue to grow and challenge ourselves and get to the next level of where we want to be. And at the end, people are just saying, did I do the best I could do in my life? Did I give to those I love? Did I make a difference in this world? So we are always striving to challenge ourselves in the best way and to give back to humanity, our earth, our children, our economy, whatever is the best way that we can move to help ourselves. And when you're in that zone, that's when you have your happiness levels, your joy. You feel you're making a difference.
I totally agree. And the one investment that will have rewards and returns that you can't calculate is the investment in yourself. There's no amount of investment that is too much in yourself. People are like, wait a minute, I can't spend 85,000 or 50 or 100,000. I can't do that. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Because you're investing in yourself. It's the best investment in the world. There's none greater. And I don't care what you've done in the stock market or anything else. The investment in yourself will allow you to do things that you can't fathom. And so when you talked about on my show, I was like, oh, that's gold, because It is that investment. I was in the financial service world for a long time. It's the one investment I knew is like invest in yourself.
Yeah, it's funny when you do, then your whole life changes in all those life spheres. Your inner self, the relationship with your partner, relationship with your children, relationship with friends and the world, your confidence level. I just was on with a client last night. He goes, I got the best raise ever, Rihanna. Everyone says you're so much fun, more fun to work with. You're coming to work smiling. He goes, before I was angry and miserable. My last raise was just fair because I was a top level and I got that raise and I was so proud of myself and I just smiled and I said, this is from all my growth I just did with coaching. So it's amazing how when you change your inner self and how you feel about yourself, which we call self-love, how everything else in your life escalates to this point of just being so profound. And the rewards keep coming in all these different areas of your life. It's really amazing. I want to ask you, JM, what are the top three things a person can do to ensure they've become a leader in their niche or their industry?
That's a big question. The top three things is really you have to start with the vision, right? Where do you want to go? Because as a leader, your vision has to be so big that everyone else's can fit inside of it. If it's not, you're going to fail as a leader. So the first thing to do is start with what is my vision? Where do I want to go? The second is develop your philosophy. What do I want to show up as, right? And that just takes a little bit of quiet time to say, what's really important to me? How do I want to show up to people so that they will truly follow me? And then lastly, the communication piece. So often we think communication is happening, but we don't really know. So we may be saying something, but is it being received? One of the easiest things I coach is with executive teams is just how to do a proper meeting. And it's funny because we will talk and talk and talk and talk, but was the message actually received? And one of the best things you can do at the end as a leader is say, all right, let's quickly recap what we discussed. Who's responsible for what? By what time, and do they need additional support? And if they can't go through and quickly do that, you didn't communicate well. And that's the ownership piece as a leader that you have to say, it's not on them not hearing me. It's the fact that I'm not communicating in a great way. I need to own full responsibility. They didn't receive the message, which means my communication wasn't great. So if you can do the vision, your leadership philosophy, and then your communication, it's really what's great about it is it's not hard, but you have to be intentional about it so that you can show up as the best leader.
I love that. It's really great advice. What would you like to recap as we say, what is your words of wisdom you would like to leave with our listeners? And then where could they find out more about you?
Yeah, my most recent book was called Upgrade, and this is a thing that took me 20 years as a coach to figure out. People don't like change. I accept that. I am okay with that. But it took me a long time because I would try and change people. But people love to be upgraded. We upgrade our cell phone. You go to the flight and you get upgraded to first class from your coach seat. Are you mad? Are you fired up? You're fired up. What I would tell people is consider upgrading yourself because there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with who you are as a person, but why not upgrade if it could be a little bit better? You do it in every other area and you have the same opportunity. So I guess that's what I would leave on. To find me, I would say go to Let's Go In podcast because they need to hear you, Rihanna. I know they get to hear you on your show, but you were really good as a guest. And then I would say Let's Go In 365 on Instagram is probably where I have the most interactions with people. And I love that. I love feedback and interacting with people. So I appreciate you guys checking it out. And thank you for having me. This was a great show.
Oh, it's great having you here. I know my listeners are going to love your advice on leadership, but there's so much more you can learn in JM's book. So make sure you check it out. Get to his website, get to his IG page, chat it up with him, and if you have any questions, just say you heard him on his show or Rihanna's show, and I'm sure he'll be there for you. So, as always, I want to thank you for sharing your love and your message with our listeners and being a guest today on Lessons in Life and Love. All right, love angels and transformers, that's all we have time for today. I'd like to thank our special guest, J.M. Ryerson, for sharing his words of wisdom with you today and helping you to create the life you desire and to have the love that you deserve. I appreciate you sharing your love and supporting our mission of helping to change the way the world loves by sharing this show link with those you love and care about. Please take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review about what you liked or learned within the show. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Riana Milne, so you can listen to over 350 audios and videos that are educational and inspirational. Also, remember to get your free ebook, How to Have the Love That You Deserve, at my website, rianamilne.com, where you can also download the 5 free love tests and get the free book chapters of Live and Love Beyond Your Dreams. And also, if you need help at any time, be sure to reach out to me at the Contact Me form at rianamilne.com and tell me your story. Or even better yet, sign up for your own personal and private life and love transformation session with me. Because as always, I am here to help you to create the life you desire and have the love that you deserve. Have a beautiful and blessed week.
Hi, singles. Are you really ready to have a love relationship? If you're not sure, it's time for you to take the love test. Couples, you're in an exclusive relationship. Do you or your partners have any of the red flags you should be concerned about? Do you think you or they have childhood trauma? Go to rianamilne.com and do the free love tests. There are tests there for both singles and couples. If you have any concerns after taking those tests and reviewing the answers, then sign up for a Life and Love Transformation Discovery Session and Assessment. This is a private session with me where I go over your love tests and get to the bottom of where you're stuck and what the next best move would be to get you on your way to having that life that you desire and the love that you deserve. It's time to learn how to move forward to reach all your goals and dreams. Go to rianamilne.com, my website, and sign up for the free love test, or simply just directly go to the Life and Love Transformation Discovery Session tab. And I look forward to meeting with you to see how I can help you best.